How y'all doing? Well, today it's Wednesday, May 22nd, and I'm in Minnesota. I have a Minnesota tag that was actually good for season A. Minnesota is split up like Wisconsin into multiple seasons, A, B, C, D, E, F. If you don't fill your tag that you have, say for A, B, C, D, or E, F is a second chance season. And I think it's like 10 days long or something like that. And you're able to use your tag that you have for the earlier season, try and fill it this season. Well, I never got a chance to hunt with my tag for season A. And some pheasant tracks, looks like little baby turkey tracks. How cute. Anyway, let me glass something over there. It looks odd. Nope. And nope. Anyway, I was planning on getting down here at daybreak, but I got up this morning at like 1:30 or 2 o'clock, I should say. It's about a 2-hour drive, and high winds and heavy rains. It's windy right now, but the rains have moved out. It's warmed up a little bit because it was like in the 40s overnight. It's supposed to get close to 70 down here. Oh, there's a turkey right there. Let's see if I can get some video of it real quick. Oh, no. I wasn't quick enough. A hen popped out of the woods and it saw me and it ran right back in. Anyway, I was hoping to get out here at daybreak this morning, but I had heavy rains and high winds, and I saw that the weather was going to improve later this morning, so that's what I did. I waited for the weather to improve. It's still windy right now, but the winds are going to be at my back. I'm hunting some little, I guess some little fingers coming off the top here, and it drops down to huge ravines and valleys. So the wind will be at my back, and so once I drop off, wind won't really be a factor as far as me hearing it. And that's where I think the birds are going to be. They're going to stay on the back side of these little fingers out of the wind. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal for them. I mean, it's not so windy that it drives the birds out of the fields, but I mean, obviously there was a hen just popped out. She is in a low spot. I don't know if you can see it down that little low spot. That's where she had popped out. So winds are more of a factor for me or other hunters as far as being able to hear any birds that respond to our calls. So anyway, I killed a bird out of here last year, killed a bird out of here the year before, I think. It's been a really good spot for me. Not knowing, how it's going to turn out, I've planned to cover a lot of ground if necessary. I'll start here, and it'll take several miles to make a huge loop around these points and ridges and little fingers that come out. My truck's parked back here, so I'll make a huge, 3 or 4 mile sweep and get back in my truck. And it'll take hours to do this if I don't kill one, early on. I'm hoping there's some birds kind of just off in these fingers, and not much walking, a little bit of calling, and I'll strike a bird. Late season, people are fishing. They're not so concerned about turkey hunting, although this is one of the more popular destinations to turkey hunt in Minnesota. The pressure really drops off the last week or two of the season. So, I mean, there's no vehicles parked here, and I didn't see any fresh sign. Obviously, it rained last night, so any sign is probably washed away anyway, but I'm hoping that I've got it all to myself, and I'll go in here and wrangle me up a Minnesota public land gobbler. So come along. I brought my camera with me. I didn't bring my vest. I just brought my shotgun and my camera. So I'm prepared to film it, but I'm taking a kind of a low impact approach. Not carrying a ton of gear. And I hope there's nothing in my vest that I'll need. So we'll see how it goes. This is always a good starting point for me down here. Typically I'd like to be here at daybreak, but the weather was just nasty this morning. Probably wouldn't hurt a thing. The rains have ended, but it's still pretty breezy out here, so I think there's enough lulls in between the wind that I could run a call and hear something. So I'm gonna just sit here quietly for a second and just take a breather to cool down a little bit, because it is starting to get warm out here. And then I'll run my pot call, because it'll sing, it'll carry out across here. Typically I hear birds over here on the private, which is about 200 yards away across the valley. Birds over there, and then birds here. I know that seems stupid because birds in all directions, but it's like a spot here, a spot there, and a spot here that I'll hear birds, not down here or down there. It's like 3 key locations that I typically hear them. Doesn't mean I won't hear them anywhere else, but this is a good starting point. This is a little finger comes out, it kind of drops off on either side. On the front here, it's kind of like a little cliff. You won't die. You only fall about 10 feet and maybe break a leg, but then it kind of slopes out. But the birds, I know they roost out here, like on that tree there, and they'll get right here on this point and pitch out to the trees. And they won't be very high. They'll just be out on the point. But problem is, where do they pitch down to? I mean, typically you'd think they'd pitch right here, but I have come in here and they pitched across the valley, but that may have had something to do with me up there calling, and they were a little leery for an old pot call here. All right, one just gobble back up that way. Yeah, that was a gobble. I'm not sure where it came from. It sounds like it's that way, but heck, this might be a really good spot to kill him if I can get him coming. I'll just sit right here on this point and I'll be able to see down the hill. By the time he pops into view, he'll be in gun range. Wind's kind of coming towards me, so I gotta wait for a lull so I can hear him better. That's good, he gobbled twice. Middle of the day, might be a killable bird. That bird's coming. I'm gonna get in position to kill this guy. He's definitely coming. Yeah. Got me all nervous. He's coming in a hurry too.
did hear a hen yelping. They may be closer than I think they are because it's really windy and a lot of leaves on the trees. I'm hoping they come right up that slope there. Right up through there, and I can shoot them right in that little spot there. At least I'll be able to see them hopefully before. Oh, they're right in front of me now. Where I see them. I just saw one. He's strutting. This tree wasn't in the way. I could shoot him right there. He's like 40 yards. I don't know where he's at now. He's strutting his head out there. Lost sight of him. Got that group of trees there. There he is. That's it. Come on, buddy. I dropped him. You know what? Kind of saddens me that it only lasted about 10 or 15 minutes. I was fully prepared to cover a lot of ground on this piece of public. And like I mentioned earlier, this is a good spot to come sit. It protrudes out into the valley so you can kind of call all the way around you. And first call, they gobbled, and it sounded like multiple birds, but I heard a hen yelping, and then I heard them gobbling again, but they didn't sound like they had gotten a whole lot closer, maybe a little bit. But then one gobbled closer, and then I saw this one strutting through the woods. I didn't know it until I killed him. He was following a hen. That hen was coming to my calling. So she's to blame for his demise. So a very quick hunt here in Minnesota, public land, beautiful gobbler. Of course, like I say every time, I had to review the footage. I haven't looked at it yet. There may have been a tree blocking the main camera, but I was prepared for him to come out from behind a tree. He turned back and went up the hill, and he kind of broke out a strut and was looking right at me. And I decided not to take any chances of him getting away. I just went ahead and shot him. So, I mean, you may not be able to see the kill shot. If I caught the kill shot, then you know I'm just talking for no good reason because you got to see it. But anyway, first call I made, pot call, just because it'll carry and it's windy. I wasn't even sure it was a gobble. I thought it might have been one, but when I heard it the second time, even though it still didn't quite sound like a gobble, I was like, you know, it didn't sound 100% like a gobble. It was so faint. I'm like, that's got to be a gobble because the sound is right after I called again. So, got to be a bird. So I just sat here for a minute just listening and looking at my map, trying to figure out where they were at. And I was looking at my map and I kind of figured they were on the private and they gobbled closer. And I'm like, oh, I got to get in position. They're coming. You know, I didn't think they would come that quick, but this spot has been real good for me. This ridge and the like 2 ridges over, this general area here has been real good to me. We're gonna head back to Wisconsin now because you can only kill 1 bird in Minnesota, and I don't have anyone else that I'm gonna be filming. I got my brother coming up this weekend, so he and I'll be hunting together some. And but for now, I'm gonna get this bird out of here, get it registered, tagged, and everything. Clean it up, and then I'm gonna throw it in the cooler because I'm headed to Wisconsin. I'm a couple hours south of my home, so no sense in driving all the way back up there. I'm gonna just jump the border and try to fill another tag. The hunting is great, late season, love it. All right, so over here in Wisconsin, it's about 5 o'clock, well, just a little bit before 5, so we got about 3.5 hours of hunting light. And I'm a few hours from where I killed that bird in Minnesota early today. And this is the place that Garrett Prawl and I hunted a few weeks back. Saw plenty of birds, we just couldn't get on any of them. And I was shocked at the number of birds I saw out in the field when we got here. And figured it wouldn't see much, considering it gets hunted pretty good. I pull up today, and there's birds in the field again. There's nobody parked here, and I can't believe it. You know, we had rain yesterday and then all night last night. It's a little breezy, but the sun's out and it's like 75 degrees. So I figured somebody would be back here, but nobody's parked back here. And I'm wondering if there's this farm equipment that's kind of deterred them and they're thinking, okay, they're gonna be farming and planting and doing whatever and it's gonna mess up the hunting. But turkeys are used to that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm gonna head back to where Garrett Prawl and I were on our second morning when he was filming me, and that bird was roosting on that point. I'm gonna just get set up there, and that'll be where I make my first call. If I think I need to move, I will. Otherwise, I'm gonna kind of just listen and see if I can roost some birds for tomorrow morning. I think tomorrow morning I'll have a really good chance. And there's a gnat in my ear. Ugh. Get out of there, just buzzing around. I put some bug spray on because the gnats are just ridiculous right here. Anyway, I'm hoping to get down in the woods and get away from them. But pulled in, there's a couple of hens out there. Can you see all these gnats around me? That's crazy. It's ridiculous the number of gnats around my face right now. So, I think I just swallowed one. Anyway, we're gonna get back in here and I'll get set up before I make my first call. And hopefully we hear something. Got a little lull in the wind. Might as well make a few calls. Was that a gobble? Of course, there'd be a plane coming over right when I got a lull in the wind. I'll sit here and listen for a moment. We'll call again in here in a second, and once this plane goes by, and see if we can actually hear something.
That sounded like a gobble. Back over this way. Hen just yelped. Just shows you how quick something can happen. I thought I heard a gobble and I was about to lean up, then a hen yelped. A little juvie hen came in, probably not even 15 yards to my left here, between 10 and 15. Instantly saw me, but was not spooked enough to turn around. She kept on going and went on by, started pecking. Not bad. Only been here set up 15 minutes maybe. First turkey came through. And I thought I heard a gobble. I'm not positive, but I'll give that hen a chance to get out of here, then I'll make another call. Just gobbled right behind me. I just hope it comes around to the right side of this outcropping and not my left. I think I hear drumming. There he is. I think he just went down. I think. We're getting close to the end of legal light, and I'm gonna try to make this wrap up pretty quick because I wanna try and locate another gobbler for tomorrow morning. I may be taking a friend out tomorrow morning, so it'd be nice to locate one, but I don't know what happened. I thought I had it right on the bird's head and neck, and I don't know, maybe I was too anxious to see if I killed it and lifted my head too soon or something, but I hit him. He went up and then he crashed back down. I ran down there and he got back to his feet, and let's just say it was a little comedic. I tried to grab hold of him. I grabbed a handful of tail feathers, pulled out every tail feather in his fan. There's no tail fan anymore. But anyway, I chased him. He went down the hill kind of tumbling and falling, and he was getting to his feet a little bit, but I managed to catch up to him at the bottom of the hill and tackle him, and finished him off by breaking his neck. He was pretty hurt, let's just say that. He wasn't going to make it much farther, but certainly didn't want him to get up under a log or something and hiding in where I couldn't find him. But it's a dandy bird. I mean, his spurs aren't huge, 1 inch, but his beard is really long. It's got to be at least 11 inches, and he's pretty heavy. I'm just curious if this was the same one that Garrett and I tried to work a couple weeks ago. I was sitting here, I'd been calling off and on, but I hadn't called in a little while, and then he gobbled right up here on his own. And I think because it was getting close to sunset, he was probably coming down here to roost. I made a couple calls, and I was hoping he wouldn't come to the left, and I got my hopes granted, or my wishes granted. He came off to the right. Heard him spitting and drumming before he came around the corner where I saw him. But he stood there for the longest, and I was in an awkward position. It was hard to sit like that. I was kind of hunched over, and I get excited when the turkey's in front of me, and then breathing increases, and it was hard to breathe. I was scrunched up. I couldn't even barely breathe. And he finally took another step, and he had his head behind some leaves so I could get my, finally in position. There may have been some recoil to the camera because I was so tight to it when I shot, so I don't know. We'll see. But another bird down. 2 birds in one day. That's pretty phenomenal. Both of them on public land. So I'm gonna head back into town. I'm gonna hoot and coyote howl on the way out up this little ridge and see if I can locate another bird. But I guess I'll go get this bird clean, put it on ice as well. And I don't know, maybe I'll be back out in the morning with a buddy. I don't guess I'm gonna come out if no one's available to hunt in the morning. I'm gonna probably just sleep in. But what an incredible day here in Wisconsin and earlier in Minnesota.